Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is Jason Bitbender Brink from Gala Games, and we are here with some of the dev team behind Superior, which a lot of you hopefully jumped in and played the playtest over the weekend. I know I did. It was awesomely fun, and I like to play the sniper chick. She's my favorite. And yeah, so let's start off with some introductions here, and then we'll just chat about some of this stuff, and yeah, get into it. You guys take it away.
All
You
right.
go, Ray.
All right. Yeah. So I'm Ray Davis, CEO and founder, and I head up engineering here at Drifter. Over to Kenneth.
I am Kenneth Scott, founder and art director here at Drifter Entertainment, and I will go to Mr. Brian.
And I am Brian Murphy, design director and co-founder of Drifter Entertainment. Super excited to answer some questions for you guys and hear about what your guys' experience was with the build. Some more.
Well, I'm super happy to be here. I know that we've talked a few times in the past, and I absolutely loved the playtest. That was so much fun. I love the art style, like everything about it. You guys started out sort of in the VR space, didn't you?
Yeah, actually. So we started in 2016. All three of us come from long history of game development, id, Epic, Microsoft, all kinds of things like that. And really, I think the three of us kind of dabbled a little bit in new technology and new ways to build video games. And for us, when we started the company, that was virtual reality. And so our first 4 years, we shipped 4 different games, which feels like crazy in retrospect. But our last, I think I'm actually sporting the shirt here, Lies Beneath, was our homage to the Silent Hill, Resident Evil horror genre, building something really for the ground up in VR.
Nice. Yeah. You guys made Robo Recall, right?
Yeah, we brought it to Oculus Quest. Yeah.
Okay,
before I left Epic Games, I actually got the project greenlit and then split off to make Drifter, and then it came full circle. So it was
nice.
It was quite an adventure. Yeah.
Nice. I have an amazing video of my wife playing that game. it is epic. Like full on fall down on the floor, screaming. It's great.
I think
there was a lot of injuries over the years doing VR development. I think.
Oh my god!
At the studio, everybody was like living in fear when we were like packed in the smallest first office. Like,
for everyone at home, Brian has ridiculous arm length, and so when he's swinging, he was working on like the melee system in our last game in VR. It was dangerous. So you needed like a 20-meter radius of protection. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, let's hop in. I mean, we're gonna go ahead and take some questions from the community. The first thing that everyone always asks, and to which the answer is traditionally Thune, is win Superior. Now, before you answer this question, note to the entire world at large that dates don't really work very well in this industry. And so we're looking for at some point in time in the future, but this is not going to be something that is going to be hard and fast. And it could very well move, because that's one of the things with development is that you think you have it all figured out and you start building towards it. And then you realize suddenly that there's a whole other thing that needs to be built that you didn't plan on building, and, things get moved. So when?
So, fortunately, I think our biggest target is, aiming for a really solid release sometime around holiday this year, hopefully. As some of our adventurous playtesters found, there's actually quite a bit of content, in the pipe already, and we have a bit more planned. But to your point, game development is a highly iterative process, and that's really what we built the core of our sort of development at Drifter. And so, especially as we sort of unveil more and more of the NFT integration, crypto integration, there's going to be a lot of our ideas put forth, but we're also going to be doing a lot of listening and seeing what you guys like, what you guys don't like, trying different things and so forth. So yeah, if you were to throw a dart sometime in holiday, but it's a big bullseye right now. Yeah,
and I like that. No, that would be good. I traditionally take a few days off during the holidays, and I would love to have a game to play.
Yeah,
that would make me happy. GamerZone 365 has informed me that I messed up. and I apologize. I asked the incorrect first question. According, again, to tradition, the first question is always pizza or sandwich.
Pizza, of course.
Oh yeah, pizza. Come on.
No, sorry. I mean, I love pizza, but I'm a sandwich guy. You can do so much with a sandwich.
See, there you go. What about a calzone? I'm on team calzone. It's a
Whoa.
pizza
What-
sandwich.
One of
Pizza
my-
and sandwich at the same time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and say one of my first jobs in high school was making calzones at a little Italian place, man.
Perfect.
Can't go
See?
wrong with that.
There you go. Is our audio coming through okay, Paul? I'm hearing some reports that they're not hearing. I don't know if that is the case. Okay, awesome. It is being boosted, Eric's. Fleef would like to know what made you guys go with this art style?
Oh, Fleef. Yeah, we've been watching Fleef on the Discord. There was a ton of inputs. I think largely it was just sort of like a deep in our hearts and our childhood. Like it was an opportunity to kind of pull at that old nostalgia of I'm older, so my Saturday morning cartoon nostalgias were like right back into the 70s, up to the 90s, and then of course we all love sort of like contemporary and 90s modern anime. So there's little bits of Attack on Titan, a little bit of Parasite, a little bit of Akira, but it's just been one of those things that's sort of driven most of us for most of our careers. It was nice just to like be honest about it. And
I love it, man. It's incredibly beautiful.
Cool,
Yeah, I
thank
mean, another thing was when we were working on, if anybody has had a chance to see or play Lives Beneath, our last game, we got an opportunity to kind of pull some of we just have a deep love for comic books in general at the studio, and our last game looked like this like 1950s horror comic, mixed with a sort of modern horror manga.
almost specifically the Warren line of creepy and eerie up into like Junji Ito. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was
Deep
also
cuts
kind of an
there.
inspiration point for us. It's like, oh man, like we're not done there. Like we need to keep on diving in. And it's also actually a really great match for the roguelike genre, kind of interesting enough, in the way that we want to build our game, which is like it's highly modular and it's very deep, and we want things to be able to kind of like mix and match dynamically. And that like lends itself, I think, there's a lot of sort of, production opportunities that kind of emerge when you have an art style like this, where you can sort of begin to mash different elements together and it all sort of just works. That is really great from a game design perspective as well, in terms of how this art style works.
Yeah, and the engineering person in me would say like it's also really great for performance. We can scale things and still run faster, especially with the number of enemies Brian wants to throw on screen. And
I need more enemies, Ray. Always.
Yeah.
Always more enemies. Always more enemies. In terms of the development timeline, I'm sorry, I should word that more carefully. In terms of the time it takes to develop and produce new additional content, does this art style make that easier than going with something that's more photorealistic, or?
Oh, considerably. It's very forgiving on a lot of fronts. And one thing it really does afford us, like the lazy artist in me goes, UVs? We don't need UVs. Texture? And so there's a whole area, like we just go to the purity of the design and not necessarily have to get into the painful PBR and worrying about how the eyelashes render. Like it's
Right.
super honest,
Right.
super fast.
It's one of the things when you see games that are there are a lot of these ostensibly photorealistic games, and there's always this terrible uncanny valley that the characters end up falling into, where you're rendering eyelashes, but it doesn't matter how much time you spend on that particular eye or that eyelash, it's always going to look freaking weird, and there is nothing that can be done that makes it not weird.
I mean, I think the industry is definitely solving that, and even our good friends at Epic are making great progress on their metahuman stuff. But I don't know, the gamer in me is I have a little fatigue of like photorealism, grimdark. Elden Ring aside, that's really impressive. I can't wait to dive in. But like, it's like I already have the real world. Give me something fun, something that can't exist in the real world. And back to Kenneth's point of like the nostalgia of cartoons, man. Like this takes me back to for me the X-Men's, the Darkwing Ducks. Like stepping into that world and being able to blow stuff up. I'm all in.
I love it. I love it.
I saw a really interesting quote online when somebody was talking about specifically the uncanny valley means that evolutionarily speaking, there is a reason why we need to freak out when we see something that is human but isn't.
Not quite human.
That's,
Alien
that's a
invaders.
really good point. That's a really good point. I think that probably goes back to some caveman days there. Will there be a PvP component to this?
So funnily enough, when we were like still sorting out the sort of roguelike game systems, we started with PvP as a crutch to, you know, be able to jump in and play the multiplayer replication code and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely, you know, close to our heart, and it has existed in the World Superior. But for the foreseeable future, we're really focused on just like landing a really great co-op experience first and foremost.
Perfect. Let's see here. The voting on this, I believe, is going live today, T-Bone. So to answering your question about when the vote is going to go live. And I'm super excited about this. I know how I'm going to vote.
Come on, you can tell us.
I'm gonna obviously I'm going to vote for you guys, clearly. And I personally I personally hope that everyone else does as well.
We want to make games for you.
Everyone needs games. Everyone needs good games. I mean, that's the thing that I really like about this, is that in the blockchain gaming space, it's so hard to find a good game. And that's what this is. This is a good game. I had so much fun playing it during the playtest, and I need to figure out you know, how those people went a little bit beyond so that I can access that content.
No. Just have patience. I think what's exciting to me is very similar. Our mindset is similar to what we started with VR. Is like in the early days of VR, if you were around in the community, there were a lot of really cool little tech demos and one-offs. Even Kenneth made some really awesome like dinosaur stomping down, but there wasn't a lot of that like a game as a gamer I could see myself sinking hours into.
Right.
And that's what we did with our you know, Gunheart and Lies Beneath, is just in Robo Recall. It's like, yeah, this is fun. I can get excited to jump in, put that headset. And I see the same opportunity here with NFT gaming and the stage that we're coming in. We're certainly not the first, but we are very much coming in with that mindset. But first and foremost, we want to make just a really fun game, you know,
totally awesome
full
game,
stop, right? And then given this new technology, the opportunity for us to really dig in and use our design brains and try to figure out like, what are these new opportunities that this technology, you know, there's some obvious stuff and we're learning a lot, you know, with our partnership with you at Gala. But it feels like it's, you know, just tip of the iceberg, what's ahead potentially. So.
It is, for sure. It definitely is. In terms of NFT items in game, what are you guys thinking there?
So we're starting with we're going to start by selling NFT characters, which are going to be kind of your first portal into the game. So if you played the teaser, you got to play as the Renegade or the Nomad or the Ronin or the Specialist. Each one of those characters is going to be packaged up as an NFT in and of itself, and then you can buy different rarities, which are going to unlock you know, both higher earn potential on those characters, higher rarity, better earn potential, but also it makes for a deeper, you get a slightly deeper skill tree, higher level cap, faster experience point gain, and some other cool stuff that we're planning in terms of like making it really special in terms of like getting these different characters and forming your squad up.
Awesome. That sounds cool. I think I probably need one of each.
Everybody needs one of each. They're great.
Okay, so let's see. Quick question. I'm going to deal with a couple like procedural questions. Crypto Bull, founders nodes will receive not airdrops from the Superior game, but you will potentially receive NFTs that will be dropped to the node ecosystem in a provably random format. And yes, that is the same way that it happens with Townstar. Somebody asks, this is Or Duck Maniac, says, do you guys have Contra in your past playing experiences? What does that
Past
mean?
Playing?
Playing experiences.
Who didn't grow up playing Contra at some point?
Well, yeah, I mean, as children, as a child of the '80s, like that was a key formative, game.
Contra,
right?
Contra 3 is the highlight of my memories. It's been a while. Though.
Original NES Contra with the Konami code, man. Up, down, down, left, right, A, B, start. Come on, 100 times. Yes.
If we're going back to there, then you got to call it. Was it Ikari Warriors? That game was awesome. Anyways, we can nerd out on old games.
Although, as roguelike players, you got to understand that we were also just like living in ASCII land, like delving into deep, all all text-based dungeons. It's like a
I have a copy on a shelf of Zork 1 right there.
Nice. Yeah.
respect.
Zork is awesome.
With the Zork mid.
Nice.
I have the Zork mid.
You know, it's quite possible Tim Sweeney actually put that in an envelope and mailed it to you. Or no, sorry, I'm thinking of ZZT. My bad. But Zork is the Gru one, right? You're like
Yeah. You might be eaten by a Gru.
Yeah.
It's the White House in a clearing.
I'm getting it mixed up with Infocom. Oops.
We're old. Our memories don't work very well anymore.
It's okay. One of you guys said you were at id. I played the hell out of id games. Like
for their 10 years.
A long time ago. I have a funny story to tell you, not on this call.
In fact, if you look above my head right here, that is the render mesh for the Hell Knight from Doom 3.
Oh, nice. Okay, let's see here. What other questions do you guys have? What would you guys say your favorite? I mean, I know we're talking about old games, but like, what were your influences in gaming? Like, top two or three.
Superior?
Yeah,
Or just in general.
Or just in general. Take it how you want it.
Silent Hill.
Yeah, Silent Hill is always good.
Siren, Resident Evil.
Kenneth has some
demons. Leaning a certain way, don't you?
Yeah. I was going to go with Legend of Zelda. You know, Link to the Past is still top of the mix for me. I think a lot of that SNES era of gaming, took a lot of space in my brain. Final Fantasy, all those. I was also a big fan of, like I got in high school, it was all MUDs and MOOs, and then eventually discovered things like Ancient Domains of Mystery, and that's where I kind of fell in love with the original roguelikes. Even tried making a couple myself. So yeah, it's definitely stick with me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with a few more like recent references too, because like I mean, I really do am super passionate about the roguelike genre, and I kind of like how it's sort of a chameleon genre where you've got like Hades, which is a huge inspiration for Superior in terms of the way that they structure their sort of missions and power creep and all that stuff. And then also you look at something like Slay the Spire, where they have like a really awesome sort of combinatorial effect in terms of how different abilities interact with each other. That was like deeply inspirational. And then even something like Rogue Legacy, where it has that metagame mechanic that layers on top of it. Then of course you take all that stuff for me, and my kid. My entry point into Fortnite was through my kids. Like obviously when it first came out, I was like, all right, cool. But I really had some deep fun with that once my kids got into it and playing with them. And I think that's also like a huge inspiration point for me in terms of like how they created a third-person shooter that actually is very approachable and has a little bit more of that mass market appeal. I love me some Gears of War or some Rainbow Six or any of those things, those really hardcore third-person shooters. But for Superior, I was excited about channeling these more familiar mass market third-person experiences, and those just a few more reference points for me.
It's funny too, like Gears of War, the last time I wrote a cover system was Gears of War, right? And then I was like, 10-15 years later writing a new one, the next generation for Superior is kind of
worth noting
weird.
that Ray was the tech director for Gears of War 1 2 and made the freaking cover system that you all know and love.
That was pretty revolutionary when it came out.
Yeah.
The cover system.
We weren't the first to invent it. I think we were the first to really like iterate and just really get as close as possible to making that controller in your hand disappears, right?
Right.
And that's something that stuck to me as a game engineer to this day. It's something, try to keep at Drifter is like, make everything as seamless as possible. If a player wants to do something, it kind of doesn't matter what buttons they're pressing. It's the job of the game to figure it out anyways, right? As much as we can.
Right. Taco has a question. Is the max multiplayer going to be 3?
So funnily, I can't pronounce it anymore. We started with 4 in co-op, but we dialed it down to 3, not for any reason related to performance or anything. It just got too chaotic. In the teaser, you guys are already starting to get a little tease of it. Once you get multiple powers, things very quickly get super crazy on screen. And with 4 players with full godhood, power sets, it was just insane. I was like, I can't even see myself, much less where my teammates are. So we brought it back down to 3.
That was one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it is something though that I would love to go back and experiment with, maybe different mission structures where, it's more of like, hey, King of the Hill, we've just got to survive the onslaught. And then maybe we, go up to like 5 or 6 players or something like that. Really make sure the experience is catered toward it.
To some extent, like what we have is sort of an MMO raid machine in our roguelike, and so if we increase number of players, we'd want to obviously tailor build that. But yeah, Ray touched on another thing that's like really important to sort of our core design tenets and in terms of the game is it's an internal mantra that we have, which is that every session you go from gutter to godhood. And what that means is that you start off with just like a guy with a gun fighting against these godlike superheroes, and you're just barely trying to scrape by. And by the end, and you guys have only gotten to play sort of the first 15 minutes of a run, but like as any good roguelike behaves, we want that like as you get deeper and deeper in, like the stakes get higher, it gets harder and more brutal, but you are also ascending to this like godlike level of power, and that's really where like 6 players on the screen at the same time gets crazy, because like you've got players who are have like this unlimited power, and that 3-person co-op really turns into something where everybody plays a really important role. And also every single decision that you make, we're asking players every single time they get back to the bar, like how much which power do you want? You want to go fire? Do you want to go ice? Do you want to go electricity, force field, whatever? And those decisions really matter if it's a tighter squad.
Right. Yeah, having the strategy not only with my build, but how that synergizes with my teammates is something we think is new to the roguelite genre in general, right? There's only a couple other games really tackling this space.
Yeah.
What would you guys say your favorite power is?
Oh God. Well, it's not fair,
or
because
there's a power that you like.
There's so many powers that we haven't shown you yet that we get to play with. Haha.
What is one that is super badass that nobody has seen yet? That you can just say the name.
I think it's one. Oh, okay. Yeah, Xeno is awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The one where you can turn into a motorcycle.
What, dude? Don't spoil it.
Oh, sorry.
I think my
spoiler. One thing that you community guys are gonna learn is that like I'm really bad about spoilers. I'm just gonna like blurt them out. So
you and Eric, like you guys are gonna like seriously, the two of you in an AMA. It's like, yeah, let's just tell them all the secrets.
I just really want to share the fun and awesomeness. My answer to the power question is so when you're allowed to get a little deeper into a mission, you can start picking up duo abilities, where like if you invest in fire powers and ice powers, for instance, in the current build, one of the duo abilities is called Icy Hot. And what that is if a frozen character also is set on fire by you, then it explodes. And like the thing that's really fun about that is that like if you're teamed up with an ice player and you're playing fire, you can start creating these chain reactions. So it's like a nice team ability, or you can try to go for a hybrid build by yourself. So it creates lots of fun opportunities, and all of our duo abilities are like that. And I think it's something the community hasn't really had an opportunity to scratch at yet, because we haven't let you get far enough in the run in order to start getting those duo abilities. But that's really exciting to see. See like right now people are like, oh, I'm going all fire or I'm going all ice, but later on it starts being like, is going all fire actually the right strategy, or should I pair that with electricity or something like that? And
I think over time too, we'll have to dig up some of the old prototype videos. A lot of things get left on the chopping block, like the version, I think it was an ice jump, started as a geyser jump. And it was really annoying in co-op, because like Brian would be cruising around and he'd jump right in front of you, and all of a sudden you just get launched into the air. Like, what the hell? But that's part of our
funny than when it used to block you.
Yeah, it used to be just like a giant. Like, well, I guess I won't go forward. Yeah. Or a lot of times we'll prototype powers, and they're like, this would be better as an AI ability, like the Toymaker that actually started out as a really fun player ability. Or the sad one that we had to cut, sadly, was duplicating weapon. Every time you got your kill streak would cause extra copies of your gun at full power floating over your head. And if you got like an LMG with a kill streak on that thing, it was insane. But it was too OP. We had to kill it.
That sounds amazing. That's like that really, really awesome Bollywood video.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the goal here, exactly. That was exactly what was in my mind.
I know it is. That's the only thing that could possibly be in your head. But think about that.
And that's also one of the fun things. Like as we begin to unlock the deeper layers of our sort of roguelike dungeon, you guys will be able to find these deeper synergies. And I think ultimately, like once you're like you're beating multiple bosses and getting in there like 9 missions in or whatever, or 9 rooms in or whatever you want to call them. That's I think where we might be able to start, taking off all, like letting all the true insanity happen. And so I think we always have those crazy like duplicating guns things in our back pocket to make those god moments really fun. But I think we want them to happen organically, right? Like almost accidentally. We're kind of waiting for the community to come in and be like, dude, did you know when you get these 6 powers and you pair them all together, like the universe melts? And then that's going to make us very happy.
Well, and I think that's an important note for our audience out there is like, we know some broken stuff is going to be discovered, and we'll try our best to balance it in a way that doesn't lose the spirit of it. But it's part of the process, right? And we've
all
got
part of the process.
tons of telemetry.
Part of the fun.
Yeah, part of the fun. There's nothing better than being surprised by something you made.
Turn that bug into a feature.
I feel like with an RNG driven game like a roguelike 2, it's okay to have game breaking builds if the drop rate is like, or if the chance of that happening is like very, very small. Like if it's a 1 in a million shot and it's an auto win, that can be kind of fun. That's part of the magic of the genre, is that like after 100 hours you're still finding things that you didn't know existed.
And suddenly you get that and you're like, oh, this is the most amazing experience ever. I love that.
That's the big tension for me as a person who loves to spill the beans on all the fun things. And then simultaneously, I love to keep the secrets from the players and wait to see how long it's going to take them to go and find those things. Like really excited that we were actually able to keep this game, under stealth until this weekend, and then be able to come out and have something for people to play before the node vote and everything. And I think that's a mentality that Superior is always going to want to have. Is like, oh yeah, we've got more secrets, we've got more goodies, they're just waiting for you. And it's like,
hey man, I know what that's like. Remember, people, I told you there was cool stuff coming. Just wait, more too. Yeah, it's just very, very cool. Now I've got a question here from Jedi Guy. Jedi Guy is one of our community from Korea, and they are like Spider Tanks OGs, and will probably play the ever living hell out of this. He's curious about what the average run length will be.
We intentionally try to hit somewhere around the 45-minute mark for a full run. But that's a mid to late game mission, I would say. I think we want to, with the way we've designed the game, we have the option to give people like, hey, if you've only got 20 minutes, here's a cool little mission you might be able to jump into, grind a few experience points or whatever. So we'll have a bit of flexibility on that.
Yeah, I think
Awesome.
we like in the meta games, so the way that you gain skills and abilities and stuff, we want to create lots of sort of short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals for the player that are going to be really fun to be chasing after, even if you don't get to the end. I mean, I think that's really the key to the genre, again, is that ideally we're killing you off a lot. We're killing you off in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then like when you get to that 45-minute mark and you're still alive, the stakes are going to feel high. It's going to feel great because you're like, oh my God, we're really going to do it,
Yeah, I freaking love. I love that. A couple random questions. Show of hands: mouse and keyboard versus controller.
Is that Magnus?
Love them both.
There you go.
It depends on the game or what I'm playing. Even in Superior, it kind of, if I'm playing more like the Specialist where I'm using rifles at range, it's mouse and keyboard all day, right?
Yeah, I that's for me on Superior. It's which class am I playing? I mean, obviously, I guess as a designer, I have to play everything pretty much 50-50. But like, if I'm in pure fun mode, then I still switch between the two depending on the class. Like if I'm going to be going to melee class, then I go with the gamepad.
Okay.
Interesting. My stupid thumbs just don't do controllers. Like even like way back in the day, I always insisted on either buying or building adapters allowing me to plug mouse and keyboard inputs into controller machines, which was inadvisable, but
like
typically
that
the way
one
I
guy at
do
the
stuff.
Halo LAN party who's got the weird mouse and keyboard setup.
That was me.
I like having the
was Halo, too.
like you get the haptics on the controller and you grip it, and when you punch you like hit a bumper, and it's like
Yeah.
it feels cool. I just love them both.
I believe you. I believe you, but my fingers are dumb. Let's put it that way. If you had to play everything with sausages, you might like keyboards too. What was the inspiration behind the story? I saw that question. I don't know who asked it. What was the inspiration behind the story? Oh, Scooby Doo Bop Bop.
Where did we start? I think it's a lot of things, yeah.
So I think we started from I think sort of being really excited about some sort of roguelike shooter like Gutter to Godhood core loop. We tend to at Drifter always start from a gameplay perspective, and then we work into a world to build around it. We had a ton of passion for superheroes, but at that point we were starting to feel that superhero fatigue started to creep in. So it was like there's like this interesting tension where it's like I love superheroes, they're like part of my DNA, and yet I'm ready I'm ready to see something else done with it. And so
tired of Marvel movies.
So the idea of being able to hunt superheroes and be superhero hunters sounded really interesting. And then from there, I think we also kind of knew from all of our previous games that we just love doing creature work. And, Kenneth is one of the greatest creature people in the world. So we always want to be able to lean into that. And I think the story sort of began to bubble up from there, right? Like superhero hunters, creatures, good core gameplay loop of Gutter to Godhood.
Yeah, I would say we've learned the habit over making lots of games over the years of like, if we can build the world in a way that gives us creative freedom, that's the way to go, right? And so building the IP, the universe of Superior is like, hey, parallel dimensions is really handy as a game design tool. Cool, that's in, right? Like now we can do anything and mash it together, and it's as long as it's fun and cool, then everybody's happy, right?
Well, one of the things that we did on this game, and actually the game before this one, Lies Beneath, that was really fun in terms of a narrative development, is that we created we baked a lot of uncertainty into the actual fiction and DNA of the world. So and even if you were to look at sort of our internal narrative codex that we use, it's like nothing is spoken in absolutes. It's more like, what do the people in the world think happened? Like we're not necessarily, certainly not anytime soon, going to come out and tell you guys why did all the superheroes turn bad? What's the deal with that? That's a fundamental mystery of the world that there are going to be lots of theories presented in the game world as you play, and in the sort of peripheral content that we generate for the game as well. And I think who are these characters? Why did they decide to hunt superheroes? Those motivations. We want everything in the game to have a backstory and have a life, but to have that life be kind of told through the experience rather than a cutscene or something. That's why you'll notice all of our characters are seem to have suffered some sort of massive injury just in their character designs. What's that about? Why do they have that? She's got a prosthetic leg. What's the story behind that? Those are all things that we may or may not ever reveal, but there will be lots of opportunities to speculate and lots of theories floated in the world and outside of it to latch onto.
Yeah,
one of the things.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
I was just going to say a couple ones that came up too in the process early on was The Boys before it was popular on TV. That was an interesting touch point. And then I think some of us at the studio had also read the Steelheart series by Brandon Sanderson, if you're familiar, which is a lot of overlap in vibes. Very, very inspirational. So it's a great book if you haven't read it. Not that Sanderson needs any more love right now. I think he's doing quite well. But
oh man, that Kickstarter is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I look at superhero stuff, and I can't see a superhero video game related adjacent video game in any way, shape, or form without thinking of City of Heroes, which was my favorite MMORPG ever that is now dead, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, pour one out for Cryptic.
Evil mutant City of Heroes here.
Yeah, no, seriously, it is. It's the city of villains, right?
Yeah. little bit more action paced, but yeah, no, I played my fair share of that MMO in the day. It was a lot of fun. I'm in the same boat as like I'm like these two. I'm not a huge comic book nerd. I'm not a huge superhero fan. Like I've got room in my heart for Batman, and that's about it. Or maybe cheesy Superman from the 80s and 90s. So the idea of going and chasing after that Marvel superhero aesthetic, it's really cool. It's fun popcorn watching, but that's just not something I get excited about. And
Right.
well, especially with Kenneth's ability to make scary, weird creature things that I can never imagine, it's just so much more fun.
Plugging an extraction vacutainer into a superhero's neck hole, though, it's right up your alley.
Where else are you going to get the juice from? Come on.
There's lots of slime in our game. That's another thing that the cartoon aesthetic makes us feel like we can get away with, is just like buckets and buckets of goo everywhere.
Modern vaudeville.
The NAF asks, will there be NFT weapons?
We don't have firm plans about that right now, but it's certainly something we're exploring. And obviously, if you guys have some feedback on that, it'd be interesting. The weapon design is very, very critical to how the sort of game comes together and the synergies and all that. So it's definitely something we'd have to make sure we get right.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
Will you guys ever sell superheroes as NFTs?
You mean like an adversary?
I guess. Sure.
That's an interesting idea. I mean, I don't think we've even really talked about that. But like,
does it have to be alive? On a slab, and it's like, okay, you can start pulling powers out of here and there.
I wonder, like maybe that's part of like some sort of future land sale or something. Is like you can create your own dungeons with different enemies in it and stuff, but we don't.
Yeah, it reminded me of like Dungeon Keeper, or even in Gears 2, I think, or maybe it was Gears 3. We introduced the reverse horde mode, where one player gets to be the evil queen and spawn various hordes against the players. Like I could see that fitting into the world of Superior at some point.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah,
that would be super fun. Let's see, what other questions you guys got? Is it going to be like Suicide Squad killing superheroes? Mikuri 19 asks.
Sorry, I've only seen the bad Suicide Squad, so I'm not sure.
The new one was pretty great.
Yeah. Was it? Okay.
I thought the new one was okay. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like the difference between what we're doing and what Suicide Squad are doing is that the main characters are villains. I kind of view our main characters as being a little bit more likable, and they don't start off. They're not superheroes, right? They're superhero killers. So versus Suicide Squad is this team of villains, but I mean, obviously,
is it a team of villains or is it a team of misunderstood? There you go.
Fair enough.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly a property that bears a lot in common with our universe, for sure, and it's cool. So,
yeah, I think that sounds fantastic.
All I have in my head now is Jared Leto doing a cameo in our game.
Oh God!
Why not?
Because he's Jared
Why
Leto.
not?
No, I'm kidding.
Well, okay. Point taken.
Jared Leto unsubscribes.
He's done some good work. It's just
he has indeed.
I'm looking forward to Morbius.
That's true.
Okay, let's see here. What other questions do we have? Some people asking questions about play to earn and what your thoughts are around that. No firm promises, but do you have anything you feel like sharing there?
Maybe we could speak to our aspirations around it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the key thing here is, it's really important to us that we make sure that we're delivering that, that value to, especially for people who are going after the ancient and legendary things, that in addition to having just a generally more powerful and cool character, that their earn potential is really really reflects the investment that players or investment, the amount that they're putting into that thing. And so I think that's really important to us. The specifics of the mechanics of our play to earn model, I think, are still sort of taking shape, and I'd hate to kind of misrepresent.
Yeah,
that's
TBD
perfectly fair. Perfectly fair. What was the inspiration behind the bot bartender?
Is that Kegbot? Is that where we started?
It might have been. We had a bunch of different things in mind, and there was just a great piece of concept art that actually Kevin Anderson is our lead character artist sketched up that just sort of rang true to that particular scene.
I mean, you always have to have a character in your ear, right? And so like having a just it's a convention of shooters now. Like, who's in your ear? Is it Cortana? Is it your brother Sal or whatever? So we knew we wanted someone kind of quirky and weird, and not necessarily all there, and so.
Yeah, somebody says a funnier, less annoying claptrap.
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah.
Pretty unavoidable not to have a little bit of claptrap in there, isn't it?
It's a bummer. Yeah, Claptrap was novel in the first one. He just got too exaggerated, I think.
I like Claptrap. Yeah, he's fun.
It did get a bit over the top.
That was a developer on the team? Isn't that developer like a full-time voice actor now? I think he was in Gravity Falls. I was like, I know that
awesome.
voice.
That makes me very happy.
No, I want to feel bad because I actually know him too. He actually used to be part of the God, I can't remember what it was called. There was a toy company a long time ago, and we were working with him on the Quake 2 and I think up to the Quake 3 action figures.
Is that the?
Gonna make me Google it.
I can't remember either. So I remember. It's that same people that made our giant chainsaw guns from Gears of War.
I love it.
It may have been actually.
Can you guys imagine? I mean, do you remember what life was like before Google, when you couldn't think of a thing and then you just had to be content with your ignorance?
Yeah, it made arguments a lot more annoying.
Right. There wasn't
the loudest
the ability to be
wins
like
every argument. It's terrible.
Nah, you're wrong.
So citation.
In the internet, yes. Thank you, internet.
Absolutely love it. Let's see. Will there be a? There's another question I wanted to ask. Where the hell did it go? That was what it was. BGN the Atlantean asks, will longer runs have save points so that you can come back and resume later?
It's not currently supported, but it's certainly feasible. I think there's a little bit of trickery if we want to save a co-op session and then try to rejoin those players later on. So it's in the realm of possibility.
Solo mission,
it's very messy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, actually, what is that? I'm not a huge multiplayer fan personally. For two reasons.
You just don't play well with others.
I don't play well with others, and I'm really bad. And I feel like I feel terrible subjecting people to be on my team with me.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's one of the cool things actually that we're looking at with our sort of rarity model is that the higher rarity characters will actually confer bonuses to everyone that you are questing with, so that you can go and take on the tougher challenges and stuff.
So what you're telling me is I have to save my pennies so I can buy an ancient and not be useless.
You need to get an ancient, and then you can team up with a couple commons, and you guys are gonna wreck the server, because not only is it going to be you, it's going to be them as well. So that that's how you can be a badass.
Yeah, just to expand on, right now we're just doing anonymous matchmaking to simplify things, because matchmaking, population of players, there's a lot of logistics in there. One thing we're considering is offering a solo queue option for the future for players like that, or if you just want to you don't have time for a full run, or you just want to experiment with some synergy or something you're testing out, having that option. And personally, I really enjoy the challenge of our game in solo.
Right.
Something about it that takes me back to my favorite roguelites and roguelikes. But yeah, both.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the solo play, so it makes me happy to hear that will be possible, but that I can also find a way to actually be an asset. And I have a lot of people who have played games with me listening. I know that my brother's probably listening. I apologize for all of the many years of being terrible at games.
Nice.
That's champions rules. You have to roll for dependence. You're like the Jimmy Olsen to Superman. It's a good roll.
That doesn't sound like a good roll. It doesn't sound like a good roll. Gala Gang asks, will there be a way for players to communicate with each other while playing?
Yeah, so we have the basics of that in place with our ping system, which has very little discovery, unfortunately. Many of the UX problems we discovered, but it's actually context sensitive on a lot of things. If you ping like an enemy or ammo box and all that kind of stuff, or even sharing drops, like if you get a shotgun damage boost and your kit isn't going shotguns, you can click on it to share with your other teammates.
Oh, nice.
I think once we have friends-based matchmaking, we kind of expect a lot of players to probably organize in like Discord or other really good solutions for that. So I don't think we want to necessarily add like straight up voice chat into the game. I think voice chat can also be very toxic at times, so we have to be careful about that.
Yes, it can.
Yeah, and personally, I'm always inspired by other games where you do have a good emote system to communicate all the basic gameplay needs, and a little show off as well, of course. But yeah, still in the works.
What happens? This is from Mr. Kenward. What happens if teammates leave the match? Do you get to play solo with lowered enemy levels?
Yeah,
so
so
we tank it yourself.
The way that we structure the game is everything is re-rolled at the start of the next room, essentially. So if after you complete the current room and get back to the bar and go out to the next one, you'll now be in solo mode. And we do some tuning under the hood to help accommodate that a little bit. But it's still going to be a very challenging experience for sure.
I love it. T-Bone Huber, will there be ELO in matchmaking? Getting teammates who can progressively help.
Yeah, no, I think this is one where we're going to have to iterate and try a few different things. ELO makes a lot of sense when you're doing more competitive style gameplay. It's very difficult with our metagame progression to kind of figure out like what are the key indicators we want to use to, for our matchmaking algorithm. But I can promise you it's something we're certainly digging into.
Perfect. That sounds fantastic. Will there be a disconnect penalty? Can we hurt people who abandon us?
Yeah, trolls are the bane of every multiplayer game, and I'm sure, unfortunately, we'll have to deal with them as well. So,
yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's even more of a thing in the blockchain space, I think. Mm-hmm. I think people get a little bit more trolly and definitely more bot friendly.
Well, I think that's where we expect to, for the folks that really are looking at the game, not only for fun gameplay, but the earn potential, making sure they have a path to play a secure, troll-free session, whether that's partnering up with friends or solo queue. That's obviously something we take very seriously.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see. People definitely like the idea of removing the concept of save points from the middle of runs, bringing back the 90s.
Yes, I like your style, guys. That makes me happy.
Punjab wants a bouncy grenade launcher.
There is a grenade launcher in the game.
There's a grenade launcher.
Is it bouncy though?
Spoilers. It's not as good yet as Q2 DM6 version Q1 DM6 grenade launcher, but we'll get there. No, our grenade launcher is awesome. Yeah.
We also we've created a pretty cool weapon pipeline where our aspirations are to have a huge arsenal in this game. We actually already have a huge arsenal compared to any other game we've worked on at Drifter, and the tools are in place now for us to blow that out, and so expect lots of fun weapons to be discovered.
I like it.
Hidden away there in the RNG table.
Well, and the nice thing is we're in that realm of science fantasy or whatever, so we can do all kinds of realistic weapons can coexist with sci-fi laser weapons,
Yeah.
Goo guns and shit like that.
Something that shoots rainbows.
Okay.
How do I say your name? Exius D's, I'm going to go with. Will you be able to customize how individual characters look, either via skins for the characters or via the ability to change color palette?
So I think where we're starting is with these different picking actual character classes and character rarities, but I think that there's a ton of potential to expand into character customization. But I think that gets into how does sort of the broader economy of the game go, and how do the rewards work? And we're still ironing out all the details on that. I wouldn't expect that in the next drop necessarily, but it's something that we're excited about. I think what I will say about it is core part of a superhero fantasy is, having some sort of iconic look, and so we understand that, and we're making ultimately, the best superhero game ever. So like, we want to explore all that stuff.
Can our next hero be just Mr. Potato Head?
Why not? Why not? That sounds fantastic. I bet he has a lot of juice.
Okay. I don't know where to go with that. Why did we name it Juice?
I don't know. Hey, it was your guys' decision, not mine. Nobody asked me.
Sauce.
Yeah, that's weirdly worse somehow. Okay, let's see here. And will you be able to? I don't even know if this is part of the game because I didn't really see weapon drops happening.
Well, they're definitely in there.
How did I miss that? I don't know how I missed that. Will you be able to compare your current weapon stats to weapons on the ground before picking up?
Yeah, that should already be in the build unless I'm mistaken.
I think it's broken in in the build, but
I'm
it used to work.
mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a widget bug that made it into the weekend build.
These happen.
And that will go in Jira very soon.
Oh, jeez.
And Rowland would like to know, will there ever be usable vehicles?
Well, why would you want a vehicle when you could turn into a vehicle?
So we already kind of spoiled that one, but yeah, there is a superpower where you can turn into a vehicle.
Yeah, would do some Transformers turn into an F-16 or something?
It's actually funny whenever you play any of these games where you get superpowers, like what is it, Saints Row? Was it 4 where you get the superpowers? God, I love that game. Anyway, you get superpowers in that game. Spoiler alert! And when that happens, you're like, why would I ever steal a car again? Like I could just like.
I know, and it's like here's this gorgeous van. I could drive it. No, that's mundane. Yeah, I could pick it up and beat somebody with it. No, that's more interesting to me.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Cars
actually, Crackdown had that problem, right? Like, that's a really cool looking car, but I can just jump buildings.
Yeah, those motorcycles, that's always the first question. It's just, yeah, I know they look like you want to ride them too.
I know. Well, guys, one other question that people asked a little while ago is what is the one thing that you want people to know about Superior?
Wow. That it's really fun and it exists and more to come. I don't know. I guess the one thing that's important to me, especially, it's been coming up on 6 years now at Drifter. Like, we're a small, passionate little team here, originally based out of Seattle, but not so much anymore. And so if anything, this is a labor of love, and please be patient with us. We know there's bugs and issues, but we're definitely committed to making, the best possible game here. So
that makes me happy. Anything else from Kenneth or Brian?
On that question?
Yeah.
I think wanting people to know that it's fun and that it exists is the best answer ever. And I can't think of anything I would add to that.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, it is fun and it exists. Let it be known. And what do you mean, Punjab? You just got to play it this weekend. You can't ask how long until we get to play it. You already played it a little bit.
Again soon.
Gosh.
But first, you guys have to vote yes.
Yes, there's the vote yes part. Okay, so I believe at the end of this AMA here in just a few minutes. Oh my God, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, it's gone. Oh, robbed. I feel, that's terrible. Anyway, at the end of this AMA, the node vote is going to kick on. So you will have 24 hours to vote either yay or nay on this. Personally, I hope that you vote yes, because A, the game is super fun, and B, all of these guys are super cool. And I think that having this is an amazing asset for the ecosystem and will bring a lot of people in to play fun games with us. Yeah, so that's that. So any other pieces that we need to cover? Anything else that we feel we've missed?
Are you asking us or the community?
I'm asking the world in general. Anyone you guys can answer that question. They can answer that question.
We could do this as a two-parter, Paul. So we have some concept art if anybody's interested to see some of what sort of went into some of the initial foundation of what we were doing. Just put it right over my face. Oh, you can pick anyone. Bam. So those of you who have played it will recognize this as sort of
that's
the
awesome.
central area of our city map by our own Mr. John Wallin. John comes to us from all sorts of places. I've dragged his ass to a few places. He was a 343 as one of the big foundational concept folks. He dragged him to Oculus, where he was a very, very strong sort of proponent about helping us stand up the vision there. And he's ours again. So we can bask in this for a bit. You can go next, Paul. Boom. Oh, yeah. He's got. I tortured him over this poor little gas station. Funny little bit of trivia. Kodiak was actually the code name for Lies Beneath, which was our previous VR title.
Oh, cool! I love little Easter eggs like that.
Oh yeah, the game's filled with it. If you've played any of our previous titles, you'll find something going, "Hey, isn't that something?" etc. From very likely.
It's all part of the Drifter metaverse, right? We're going to.
And now that we're part of the Gala family, bugging them for like, can you give me a tank so I can hide it somewhere for folks to Easter egg? This is gonna be the time. So yes, I made John work on this gas station a lot, so I thought you would all enjoy it.
Somebody in Discord mentioned that they would like to see Townstar characters as superheroes. So we might have to
get to warp them into horrible abominations.
Yeah. I don't see why you. Yeah, I mean, this is the beauty of the decentralized world. I don't see why you couldn't do that.
We have so behind that door in there. That's actually how the game will occasionally start. As you start in this hallway before you enter into sort of the. It's very much in the vein of like, if anybody has ever played Dungeons and Dragons or any kind of role playing, you all know it always starts in a bar. So our story mostly starts in a bar, and this is the bar entrance. Behind those doors, there's arcade machines where we can put almost anything in.
Yep.
Okay, and I think that'll about wrap it up today, guys. So. Nothing else came out of the community there. Jedi Guy, actually, is there anything that the devs need from them? How can they help as much as possible?
Support and love.
Honest
feedback, pick up an NFT or 3. That's all very welcome.
Was super actually awesome. You guys all filled out the survey that went out on the Discord over the weekend, and I had a lot of fun reading that today, and there's tons of stuff, generated lots of tasks for us. Just that feedback's super valuable to us. And actually, honestly, like when you guys stream and post about the game, like I tend to be lurking, and I just learned a ton just by watching you guys play, which is also hugely helpful. Like for instance, I've seen a lot of people struggle getting that juice tank into that first little kiosk. So it's definitely gonna have to be some improvements there. So just little examples like that, like just getting to be able to watch you guys play is a huge privilege for us, and we really enjoy it. So stream your stuff,
awesome.
Share it with each other, talk to us directly on Discord. It's awesome.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who is listening and watching for joining in. This has been Jason Bitbender Brink with the guys from Drifter behind Superior. And go join that node vote in just a few minutes. Thank you very much.
Thanks, y'all.
Have a great day, guys.